Canada has clinched a groundbreaking $214 billion trade deal, reshaping the global economic landscape. Historically, the US has been the dominant global trading partner, but this new agreement elevates Canada with a crucial global partner. Announced in both Ottawa and Brussels, the deal spans advanced technology to vital natural resources. It signifies Canada's transition from a significant player to a global powerhouse, heralding a new chapter in transatlantic relations. Prime Minister Trudeau's administration has meticulously crafted this moment, affirming Canada's consistent multilateral strategy. The agreement broadens Canada's economic base, lessening its dependence on the US and enhancing its global autonomy. In Washington, the announcement was met with surprise and unease, underscoring a potential decline in American economic dominance. This deal is more than just a shift in trade volume, it's a symbolic change, indicating that America's closest allies are exploring new directions. Now Congress is left to ponder not only how this occurred, but what it means for the future of US leadership in global trade. This is beyond a trade agreement, it's a strategic shift with extensive implications. Canada's decisive action positions it as a dependable, stable partner in an uncertain world. The US must now confront a new reality, where its allies are constructing powerful economic connections that don't always include Washington. The world is observing as Canada assumes a new role on the global stage. The European Union, representing one of the world's largest markets, is the other half of this historic deal. The EU's decision to deepen ties with Canada is strategic, rooted in shared values, stability and long-term goals. With global instability rising, the EU is prioritizing reliable partners, and Canada's commitment to international law and environmental protection stands out. Recent unpredictability in US-EU relations pushed Europe to diversify its dependencies, a strategy known as de-risking. This deal sends a clear message. The EU wants resilient supply chains and shared regulatory standards. Building on the foundation of CETA, this agreement goes further, covering digital trade, infrastructure and regulatory cooperation. It addresses modern needs like securing supply chains for semiconductors and critical minerals essential for Europe's green and digital transitions. Canada's vast resources, skilled workforce and political stability make it the ideal partner. By committing to this $214 billion partnership, the EU is investing in a future built on mutual trust and shared prosperity. This isn't just about buying goods, it's about building a new model of economic interdependence. The EU's choice reflects a pragmatic response to a changing world, and Canada is now central to Europe's economic strategy. Together, they're setting a new standard for global trade alliances. The world is taking note. This agreement is a tapestry of commitments across key industries. Green technology and renewable energy lead the way, with joint investments in hydrogen, wind and sustainable energy supply chains. Critical minerals like lithium and nickel are secured through ethical, reliable Canadian sources, reducing Europe's dependence on single suppliers. The digital economy is front and centre, facilitating data flow, joint AI research and cybersecurity, all under strong privacy standards. Traditional sectors aren't left behind. Canadian agriculture gains access to Europe while European manufacturers expand in Canada. This balanced approach supports established industries and invests in high-growth sectors. The deal creates a powerful transatlantic tech and resource hub, positioning both partners for future economic leadership. It's a blueprint for 21st century trade. This shift is the result of years of careful diplomacy and global events that reshaped alliances. Trade friction between the US and EU in the late 2010s, including tariffs and retaliations, exposed the risks of overdependence on a single partner. While the US and EU clashed, Canada quietly built trust, championing multilateralism and honouring its commitments. The pandemic and supply chain crises revealed vulnerabilities, prompting the EU to seek strategic autonomy and dependable partners. Canada's resources and reliability made it the obvious choice. Ongoing global instability and unpredictable US politics further pushed Europe towards Canada. Canada's cross-party consensus on the importance of the EU relationship sealed the deal. This is the EU's largest ever trade diversification effort, and Canada's steady hand made it possible. The new alliance is a direct response to a world where security and predictability are at a premium. Canada's rise is no accident. It's the product of years of strategic positioning. The global balance of power is shifting, and Canada is now at the center of it. The world's economic map has been redrawn. The economic impact will be felt on both sides of the US-Canada border. For Canada, $214 billion in trade and investment means tens of thousands of new jobs, especially in green energy and tech. Diversification makes Canada's economy more resilient and less vulnerable to US fluctuations. The deal will spur innovation, attract global talent, and create a self-sustaining ecosystem of growth. For the US, the loss of EU trade to Canada is a wake-up call. American companies may face new competition and job losses in key sectors. The agreement also challenges the dominance of the US dollar, with more transactions likely in euros and Canadian dollars. The US must adapt to a multipolar economic world or risk falling behind. This deal is a catalyst for change on both sides of the border. North America's economic landscape will never be the same. The Canada-EU deal has sparked strong reactions worldwide. In Canada, leaders and business groups are celebrating a historic win, calling it a game-changer for the economy. European officials frame it as a strategic partnership for the future, advancing green and digital ambitions while securing supply chains. Industry experts praise the move as smart diversification, not a rejection of the US, but a strengthening of Europe's economic foundations. In the US, reactions are mixed. Some politicians see it as a failure of American policy, while others downplay its significance. Trade analysts point to recent US protectionism and declining reliability as reasons allies are seeking alternatives. The consensus is clear. This is a pivotal moment demanding a strategic response from Washington. The world is watching how the US will adapt. For Canada and the EU, the deal is a bold step into the future. For the US, it's a call to re-engage and rethink its approach to global trade. The stakes have never been higher. To understand this deal's magnitude, compare it to past trade relationships. For decades, global trade revolved around the US, with Canada deeply dependent on its southern neighbour. NAFTA and USMCA integrated North America, but left Canada vulnerable to US policy shifts. This new $214 billion EU deal changes everything, giving Canada unprecedented leverage and autonomy. Unlike old deals focused on tariffs, this agreement covers digital trade, environmental standards, and regulatory cooperation. It's a next-generation pact shaping the rules for a sustainable, equitable future. The world is moving from a US-centric model to a multipolar system with several economic powerhouses. The EU and Canada are now partners of equals, aligned by strategy and values. This is a deliberate choice to build a resilient, values-driven economic relationship. The global trade landscape is evolving, and Canada is leading the way. The rules of the game have changed. Beyond the headlines, this deal will impact everyday lives in Canada and the US. For Canadian families, expect more jobs in clean energy and tech, and greater access to European goods at better prices. Regulatory cooperation means safer products and more consumer choice. For Americans, the effects are mixed. Some regions may face job losses, while others are pushed to innovate and adapt. The deal is a signal for the US to invest in competitiveness and seek stronger trade relationships. For Canadians, it's a more secure economic future. For Americans, it's a challenge and an opportunity. The story of this trade deal is just beginning. The world and your family will feel its impact for years to come.